Come on, put those hands together for Jesus. Come on.
Thank God for Jesus. Thank God for Jesus. Thank the Lord for waking us up. Thank the Lord for goodness. And thank the Lord for everything. We thank God for another way of having church, if we could say it that way. Everyone who know me know this is not my preferred way. I'm the person who says to people, let them hear your voice, and let them see your eyes, and because so many things are misunderstood or misconstrued by words, by what we, how we reach out to each other today. And I really, sometimes when I'm dealing with people, especially family, I say, no, on this, pick the phone up and call, or see the person, let them see your eyes, and let them hear your voice, where your heart is not misunderstood, and where what you're saying is being received the way you think you're articulating it. And so you learn in certain settings that a touch can be thousands of times more effective than words. And so when it comes to ministry, I'm talking simply ministry, or very important things. I'm more of a even though I'm an introvert by nature and consecrated by spirit, I'm more of an in your face person when it comes to ministry, or to see you or hear you. And so this is not my preferred way of ministry, but I thank God for it. And there are people that gave their life to the Lord, if I could say it that way, maybe in 2020, 2021, who have yet to set foot in a church. They've never been to a church yet, physically. And so this is very common for them. They're very comfortable this way. Even though this is church, we are the church. I think it's more reasons than we know why we were instructed to not forsake the assembling of ourselves together. And I know that there are people who says, well, this is that. I think it's reasons why the synagogues and the temples were filled with people, even though they didn't have the luxury of social media, and but I think it's a reason why I just really believe it's a difference between in-person church and this kind of way of having church. It even had different fruit, but nevertheless, we thank God for Jesus. I will say to some people, when you can attend church, you need to. More things happen when we are together physically, and that's just the facts. If you have your Bible, and you should, and we all should, we all should. And I plunge my soul into a service now, understanding that this is service, yes. And we go again into Matthew, the 13th chapter, and that the teaching part of me that only come by way of understanding. Knowledge is to know, very important. And but it basically is it helps you or he who knows in the first person. Knowledge is to know. I don't want to say help today. It more so makes one aware of whatever it is. Knowledge is to know. And so someone know right now they have no electricity. Someone know they have no hot water. They know something is going on with the furnace. They now know it. They they know, and they have an understand. They know it. What to do about it? I'm just using it for an example. It's called wisdom. Knowledge is to know. Okay, so someone found out this morning. Oh, there's no hot water. They know now. It don't mean they know what to do about it. It don't mean they know how to fix it or correct it. And so they may have to reach out to someone who has wisdom in that area. Wisdom is, what do I do about what I know? Now that I know, what do I do about it? That's what I see wisdom as. And wisdom, by scripture, being the principal thing, therefore get wisdom. We're instructed, get wisdom. Know what to do about what you know. Have an answer about now what you know. And so wisdom being that principal thing, get wisdom. But with all thy getting, and which is a whole different conversation, get an understanding. That's a whole different conversation. And that is what take us from just allaboutme.com into that place of now being able to help or teach. And the world, the plumber, he teach plumbing. He looks at you and says, "Oh, that's an electrical problem. You need an electrician." He get out of the way. The electrician talk to you about electrical things, but then you ask him a certain question. He says, "Oh no, that's a plumbing issue. I don't do plumbing. My knowledge and my wisdom is in electricity. You need a plumber." And so that I like to use practical things for understanding. That means that you can have a certain knowledge and wisdom and understanding in a particular area. Like how to be a single Christian. Someone can have a good knowledge and wisdom and understanding how to be a single Christian, yet struggle with being a married Christian. They struggle there. And you may say, "Well, how? You already saved." Yes, by myself. Now I'm trying to be saved, with someone else that we've stitched ourselves in each other's soul, in so much that by Bible it's called a oneness. And I was doing so well by myself. Now I struggle with this oneness, with someone else. And my point is their ignorance there, you see? And so what God, what I believe he really wants is a knowledge, wisdom, and understanding about who he is, which introduces us to ourselves. It tells to once Isaiah saw the Lord, once he had that vision of God or was taken into that holy place, he understood or saw himself. And so to be in the presence of the Lord, where if to the pure all things are pure, which for me means seen as they really are. Now, I wasn't taught that in a church setting. I was taught that in the basement uh, during one of my 5 hours of prayer time. To the pure, all things are pure. Pure. At first, I thought he meant it. I should see a certain beauty in everything. But then the Lord corrected me. Now He's not correcting me for you at that time. He's correcting me for me at that time. To the pure, all things are pure. Until one can see himself as he really is. Out of the eyes of God, he cannot be honest with himself. And it's amazing how someone what he want them to see is the pride and haughtiness, where someone else he want them to see that there's special qualities about he or she. It depends on where we're coming from. But he let the fearful know you're fearful. He let the proudful know you're full of pride. Which I would never teach people to take pride in anything because of how dangerous it is. That pride come before a fall, and a proud look the Lord hate. Then you have parents who, and I get where they're coming from in terms of take pride in what you do. But then the flip side of it is so much danger in it. Because what it does is it take whatever it is that's being done and says, give me all the glory for it. Or I deserve all of the accolades concerning it. And we give honor where honor is due. But my glory will I share with another, neither my praise. Let another speak well of thee. Things that keep our feet on the ground in a certain level of humility. And so as you try to move forward, as we put our feet on the ground, and the Lord will have us revisit Matthew 13, and because the Lord has a plan for my life and your life, and he has these wonderful thoughts, and they're not thoughts of evil, but good thoughts and a plan for our life. And then to understand that you work while it is day, for the night is coming. Some would say is here, but the night is coming when no man can work. And if you cannot keep up with footmen chasing you, you have absolutely no hope or chance when the horsemen come. Struggling people, I applaud them, because it says that they're saved and they're now striving for the things of God. Before when we would just give in to everything, if you notice that there were not certain struggles, because how can you struggle with things you give into? You want to drink it, you drink it. You want to eat it, you eat it. You want to touch it, you touch it. You want to get dressed and go, you go. Where's the struggle? The only struggle with many of us was how to financially make provision for what we wanted to do. But we were going to do it. And so if I have the money for the club or the motel or the hotel, then I'm gone. I'm there. If I'm angry and want to express it a certain way, I do it. If I want, whatever words I want to use, I use them. Whatever physicality I want to use, I use it. Where's the struggle? Well, then you look at the same person who give their life to the Lord and they're full of struggles. And you say, why all the struggle? Well, now you're contending. Now what pulls you pulling against. Now you're saying no when you used to say yes, and yes when you used to say no. And now you're dealing with this conviction and these feelings that are God given and that are in opposition to your normal. And there's a struggle. There's a struggle. And I don't believe that you walk with the Lord and not experience struggles. I think people get it wrong when they say to people, if you had it like I had it, you wouldn't have those struggles. For one, they're big liars. They present themselves as people who don't struggle. And if you have not struggled, then you're not saved. Like you're not born again if you haven't struggled. There's a struggling from the from the very pain of labor. They're struggling, you know, all the way to delivery. They're struggling. There's pain and suffering and struggling. And if you have not struggled, or you are not struggling, or you don't have to contend with anything, you're probably not saved, and you're definitely not born again. And so I have an appreciation for those struggles. I have more of appreciation when we conquer them. And they're no longer a place of struggle. I have more of a respect for that. It's very hard to have a 15, 20, 30 year salvation. And people are doing it. That's why I'm telling you it's hard. I've counseled them. Very hard to have a 15, 20, 30 year salvation and never have crossed over from the, like, out of the pain or suffering or temptations of something. When you counsel a man or a woman who comes out of a certain lifestyle, let's name it right now, homosexuality, and 15, 20 years later, they still want the same sex, but they have chosen Christ, and they have not been with the same sex in 15, 20 years, but they still want that. That's a hard walk. That's a hard walk, and it shows signs of it. It beats on them, and it, just imagine 15, 20 years of the same struggle and the same desires. That's a hard walk. And you may say, but how does that work? How does that happen? I refuse to make the Bible a liar and God a liar. He make all things new. But wilt thou be made whole? Will you? It's amazing he would ask humanity questions instead of making us. I know he said it. I know we talk a lot about how God going to make us what we ought to be, but we play a role in that. Wilt thou be made into what you ought to be? Like, will you give in? Will you? Because it's hard to kick against the pricks, yes? And Matthew 13:1, the same day, you see, yes, you see. See, when you get it, you get it. When you get it, you get it. And whatever emotions, whatever feelings come when you get it, they come. Like, you feel everything. You feel everything. You feel headaches and you feel tummy aches, as they say. You feel the highs of joy, and you feel the highs of happiness, and you feel the lows of grief, or you feel the sadness of loss, you always feel. And so, yes, whatever feelings come with revelation, they come. Uh, I leave that part to the Lord. Like, I do what I do, and I leave feelings with the Lord. And so you see, you have to remember it's multiple people here, and so when you open to the multitude, but you see, the same day went Jesus out of the house and sat by the seaside in Matthew 13:1. And we reverence you now, my Lord, and we reverence church. For the beginning of knowledge is the fear of God, not the dread of God, not the dread, not the running and hiding in the dread of face of God, not prompted to ask the question, where art thou? Where are you? And Adam, where are you? In the dread, but the fear, the first step of knowledge, the fear, which means the reverence, not the dread. And he worshiped him, saying, and she worshiped him, saying, you see? And so we reverence the Lord. Printed page, but living word. You see? And so, you bring your triume to the table in reverence. And you tell the person next to you who have no reverence, I'm in church. And you look at things and say, wow, would I do this in the building? No. And so I get up, I do all the prerequisites to present myself, and I do everything I would do if I was coming to the building. I'm dressed, like I have on clothes, and I am what you would see on a third Sunday. This is I'm doing like you, like by no video, but I am what you would see on a third Sunday. Because I'm in church. The same day went Jesus out of the house and sat by the seaside, and great multitudes were gathered together unto him, so that he went into a ship and sat, and the whole multitude stood on the shore. Now, it doesn't tell us if he remained sitting. I'm from the lineage of Jethro and helping his son-in-law, who sat while he talked for hours and the people stood, who said to him, the thing that you're doing is not wise, it's not good, for you sit for hours while the people stand. And so I'm from that lineage, but nevertheless, and Matthew 13:3, and he spake many things unto them. Now he has this great multitude that are gathered together. They're not there just to be there because it's trendy. When you consider the steps of people being ordered of the Lord, or if you want to say, well, that's good men and good women. Well, the same sun and the same rain fall on the just and the unjust, and the same sun shine on the just and the unjust. And these people are being ushered and invited, not knowing, so to say, but when there's need, it's show. You know, that's why sometimes God creates situations of need to get people, to get us, to get us where we need to be. This great multitude gathered together unto him. So there must be a need for it. And in verse 3, and he spake many things unto them in parables. Now, for me, a great multitude or many people provoke many things, speaking many things, teaching many things. Because for us, and I say this for no other reason than it's the truth, our fingerprinted dental record is everyone must eat. You can say, well, where did you get that from? I got it from the Lord, that prepare yourself, for everyone must eat. So there's a opening and a diversity to in the spirit, that everyone eats. Everything must be on the menu, and everyone must eat. So he teach many things unto them, but in parable. But in parable. You see? So he tells the parable. If you study parable, it's a short story or comparisons that use earthly everyday situations to teach spirituality or a spiritual or moral lesson. So he teaches them in parable. He take a short story or some kind of comparison that they can relate to. Not that they can't, but that they can relate to. Whatever he's getting ready to tell them, they can relate to it. He speaks in a way they can get it, that he may teach a spiritual lesson or a moral lesson about his Father, or about God, about God's kingdom, about heaven. And it's important that he teach us in a way that we can live righteously, or live righteous, or righteousness is right wiseness combined. When you look up righteousness, it says right wiseness combined. Righteousness involves a right way of living with wisdom, right wiseness. You see? And he spake many things unto them in parable. He says, look, behold, which always means take notice, pay attention. A sower went forth to sow. A farmer went out to sow. So someone who know what he's doing, a sower is, or a farmer who know about farming, went forth to farm, or went forth to sow. You see? So he's knowledgeable and he has wisdom in what he does. And when he sowed, some seeds fell by the wayside. They fell by the wayside. This man who know what he's doing, he's sowing. He's sowing seeds. But some fell by the wayside. Now, this word fail here, which is the past tense of fall, he's not using it in a way like an accident. Oftentimes when something has fallen, or someone fell, or something fell, it's an accident of some sort. But it's also the past tense of fall, or move downward, a downward movement. You see? And so these seeds are in a downward movement, or they are falling, or they fail downward. You see? And some fell by the wayside, and the fowls came and devoured them. And so the first thing God wants us to see is he who know what he's doing. The farmer who know what he does. He do it every day. He's sowing seeds. He's casting seeds, and as they're falling, some fell by the wayside, or the side of the road, or the pathway. That's opposite of the that's opposite of the good soil. Some fell by the wayside. Now we're going to see that that as he explained this, it's all about something. He used these natural things to for understanding, or make people aware of things. But some fell by the wayside. Now it's all about the heart. It's all about the heart of man, or the heart of a woman. It's all about one's heart. As I sit with it, and I'm looking at it, and I'm sitting with it, and I'm looking at it, all I see is a heart. I see this wayside heart, where seeds falling upon this wayside heart, or this side of the road, or this pathway. Like a pathway where feet tread upon and people tread upon it. It's a pathway. It's the side of the road. It's a pathway. Whether it's driven over, walked over, the horses trample over it, it's a pathway. It's not conducive for growing seed. And because this heart is a place where it has all of this traffic, and it has all of this activity, and it's not soil. It's just a pathway. So imagine hearing the word and getting born again, being made, being born again, versus someone who sits and they'll never get the word until they are born again. It's like what makes them who they are. They don't get it. It's like God have to literally make this heart another heart in order for you to even be able to sow seed upon it, because it's the wayside. This won't work, in so much that what fall on it is devoured. It never happened. It was never there. He says some fell upon stony places. Now, stony places are shallow soil, but it has a lot of underlying rock. You know how they talked a lot about underlying health issues and things of this nature during COVID? Well, this has soil, but it's shallow. It's shallow, but it has a lot of rock in it. So some fell upon stony places where they had not much earth, or it's shallow soil. Now, rocks are one or more minerals which are naturally occurring inorganic solids with defined chemical composition and structure. So rocks are something that naturally occur. It's not made in a laboratory. It's a natural occurrence, because of the and when it comes as a solid. It's impenetrable. You cannot penetrate it. Rocks have to be cracked or broken. You cannot penetrate rocks. He said that these seeds, these good seeds, fell upon these stony places, this very shallow soil with rocks, with things that have naturally occurred in one's life. It naturally happened. With what happened? With the lack of mothering or the lack of fathering. or the molestation or the incest. It's a natural thing with the broken heart of a first love, with what transpired after an abortion, what happened after a miscarriage, what happened after a child died, what happened after divorce. Something naturally occurred, meaning it wasn't unnatural. It's what can naturally happen when this happens. When one get hooked on drugs, when one becomes an alcoholic, it's something that naturally happens to lungs and kidneys that's been abused by way of smoking and years of smoking and years of drinking. This is a natural occurrence, but the appearance of it is solid. It can't be penetrated. It cannot receive seed. Its structure is of such that you can forget anything living in it or it producing any growth. It's a rock. Boy, your head hard as a rock. What does that mean? What does that mean? That means nothing gets in it. It's hard as a rock. The natural occurrence of this heart. This heart, instead of it looking like a beating heart with valves and blood flowing and oxygen and in a certain color of redness and a certain composition, it looks like a rock. And because of this rocky place that had not much earth, it's just enough soil. Say just enough soil. It's just enough soil where something can spring up, like in the midst of the rocks, like through the cracks of the rock, you can see something trying to spring up, or it springs up. Oh, I see grass. I see something. He says, they spring forth. They spring up. And so when you look at it, it looks like, oh, this may work. I see some progress. You're doing better. You're looking better. The seed has sprung up because they had no deepness of earth. He goes right into if something has sprung up or sprouted up quickly. Why do some people look like they're growing so fast? We think it's a good thing. Oh, you look so good from week to week. You're really growing. You look so good. You're really springing up. But that's not always a good thing when things look like it's before its timing, because it's springing up or sprouting quickly because the soil is shallow. It's not springing up from a deep part of the earth. Everything is shallow. The worship is shallow. The praise is shallow. The smile is shallow. Everything is quickly happening, but there's no depthness. There's no deepness. Because the soil is shallow. So by scripture, he says, because they had no deepness of earth. Because the seed couldn't penetrate to the deepness of earth. It's not breaking forth through the deepness of earth. It's all stayed on the surface. The rocks and it fell between the rocks that kept the birds from being able to eat it or get to it and devour it. They couldn't get past the rock. The same birds that devoured when fell by the wayside would devour this also, but it fell between rocks. It couldn't eat between the rocks. Where did the birds go? They still here. but they can't get to this. And it springs forth really fast. But then you look up and you realize there was no deepness of earth. And then you look again, and when the sun was up in verse 6, they were scorched. Because of this, when the sun was hot, they were scorched, they were burned. They were scorched. And because they had no root. Now the farmer know that that what is in the root will feed what's on top, that it can draw water from what's underneath. But this has no root. It's not rooted, as they say, and grounded, because it has no root. And the sun scorched it. You look at this person, at this heart, this shallow soil heart, you look at them one day and they've totally withered away. What happened to you? Where did you go? You were doing so ill. Now understand now, just think. You can't make something other than what it is without some work being done. You just can't make something. You just can't make something else. Young leaves and seedlings have very delicate tissue that is particularly susceptible to damage. You can't change that. And the heat from intense sun can cause the tissue to dry out and die. That's a natural occurrence. You can't change that. You cannot just make someone have depthness of earth. You just can't look at someone who trying this walk and they come to church and they say the sinner's prayer and they sit in a church service and they come back and they sit there and they come back and you just can't make them walk. You can't walk up to them and say, I want you to have deepness of earth. It don't work like that. So where's the hope? Here's this shallow person, or this person that come in and they trying to learn how to walk this walk, and they trying to learn how to live right, and they still have proclivities. They having sexual frustration. They still want to go out. They still struggling with wanting a drink or a smoke. They still in trauma. They still haven't worked things through. They sit in a service 2 or 3 weeks or a month, a year, like God's timing different from our timing, and they look like they're doing well, but someone like me, keep looking, saying that there's no deepness of earth. Don't get too excited. This person is going to take work. What do you mean? Well, says someone, First Lady, Minister Mari, Elder saying, somebody, what do you mean? It was just look. I say, just look. This need a lot of work. This marriage need a lot of work. It's shallow. This person need a lot of work. This is shallow. It's about maintenance and prevention. Now, people who know me know I'm proactive. I believe in prevention / early detection. I live that way. Prevention / early detection. And so the only way for something to live in this shallow soil with all this rock. Oh, that daughter was doing good. Man, that brother was doing good. He was doing so good. But to the pure, all things are pure. What do you see with him now, wife? What do you see with him? What do you see now, dad? What do you see now, husband? When you look at that person across from you, what do you see now, mom and dad? What do you see? And so when I look at maintenance and prevention / early detection, this kind of heart, you have to deal with it a certain way. Gradually expose indoor seedlings to the outdoors over a period of time. So it's like this rocky, shallow soil that you introduce seed to, gradually expose indoor seeds or something out of that didn't come up in this climate, in this climate, gradually expose seedlings to the outdoors over a period of time, starting with a few hours in shady spots. They need to hear the good news. They need to know God have good thoughts concerning them. They need to be around the right kind of Christian. Not the what up, doc? Not everybody's a prophetess. Not hey, everybody's a bishop. Not all that witchcraft, and they don't need to be set next to Jezebel. They don't need to sit. They need the shady spots, and then you increase their time in the sun or expose them to the sun every so often or every day, but you get them in shady spots, increasing the exposure to that sun over time. You just throw them in. They shallow. They got a heart of shallow soil with a lot of rock. There's times, number two, that you have to provide temporary shade. You use temporary covers to protect delicate plants during the hardest part of the day. So when they go through these hard places like the summer, or during holidays, during birthdays, during significant dates that mean something to them. This same time last year, I was going through a divorce. This same time last year, my child died. This same time last year, my dad passed. This same time last year, these delicate, significant dates. The church have to provide temporary cover. Like we have to provide and protect these delicate plants during these hot parts of the day. Now, if you don't have it in you to do it, then you leave it to us who do. But there's a reason why you're like, I get it. You got to come in and you got to give and you got to stay in, and you got to come all the way in. I get that. But for me as a pastor, we got to get you in. like a foot in the door, not in for me. I mean, I'm looking. And during these times of hot summers and holiday seasons and birthdays and these significant days, we have to provide temporary shade to block some of this, keeps this heat from scorching them. I do it by way of prayer, consultation, being a faithful pastor. Like we have to find a way to block some of this off of this shallow soil with rocks, or they're going to be scorched. We have to, 3, water them properly. Water plants deeply at the base of the plant in the early morning to help them stay hydrated. So you water them early in the morning, but you get as far as you can in the spirit, and you get as far as you can past those rocks into that shallow soil. And you do it early in the morning. You do it before the cares. Now don't get me wrong. This person plays a role in this as well. We can't make them come to church. We can't make them hug us back. We can't make them pray. We can't make them fast with us on Thursdays. We can't make them. So that's why questions like, "Wilt thou be made whole?" Like, or like, will you take part in this? But you also have to be willing to understand when they have fragile moments or moments they're not doing so well. That, So proactive people early in the morning, you help them stay hydrated. You avoid watering the leaves, as water droplets can act like a magnifying glass and burn the leaves. So everything has to go past like this, what you see, into the, however deep they are. That's where we want to water them. We want to get past the rocks into however deep this shallow soil is. And 4, we want to avoid pruning during hot summer weather, as it can subtly expose shaded fruit or stems to intense sun. So that means that we don't want to trim and cut away and remove certain parts of a plant, such as branches, buds, and roots, while God is getting them where they can handle being pruned. Avoid pruning during these hot summer days. It's not about cutting away and beating them up. It's not about telling them how bad they are and telling them how bad they now look, or asking them stupid questions like, "Why are you struggling like this?" Or saying things like, "I thought you was going to church and I thought you were saved now." Avoid that. Parents, avoid that. Wife, avoid that. Husband, avoid that. When you marry or get joined up to someone who you've been saved twice as long as them, or you dealing with people who you've been saved 3 times as long as them, avoid that. Avoid taking things away. Even in consultations, even in dealing with people, you're very careful of taking away something you don't want them to do. I don't want you to cut. I don't want you to burn yourself in your on your thigh. I don't want you to cut yourself in the middle of your thigh. I don't want you to afflict pain on you. But I'm not taking that away if it's not replaced with something healthier, because if we take that away too soon, then you may have nothing left but suicide. You may have nothing left but homicide. So textbook, avoid taking away what people are using to self-regulate until they have something else they are more healthy. You don't just take stuff away. See, it's not just about running your mouth and saying scriptures and praying for people and rebuking people and all. No. There's times people can take rebuke, and there are times they cannot. There are times people are not doing well. I remember going to church and I was not doing well. And I thought for sure I would get a rebuke from one of those prophetic people. Or the message would be nothing about something that chases me and rebukes me. And I remember feeling like God had wrapped his arms around me and was comforting me when I thought he would, as they say, whoop me. But the Lord looked and the Lord saw that I didn't need another whooping. I didn't need chastening. What I needed was to be edified by way of loving on me. So it's like, no, you come closer, come in. don't stand out and don't stand out and take a beating. Come in and feel the love of God. This is how come I'm so versed in understanding how he commended his love toward us while we were yet sinners. Christ died. You have to be careful removing things and cutting things away that people are using to self-regulate or to have some sense of being able to function. I work with people now. I've worked with people that in church they said everything we asked them to say. They're going to church, but they still smoking and drinking. And God, he's going to make all things new if they follow on to know. That's the one part that we cannot control, is them following on to know. And this works for seeds of plants, of corn, etc. He talked to them in a way where they understand that you have to be careful, or you have to have some understanding spiritually. When you're dealing with something that have no deepness of earth, seed gets scorched because it has no root, and they wither away. He says in verse 7, because today he wants us to see it in like a certain totality. In verse 7, and some fell among thorns. A thorn is a stiff, sharp, pointed, straight, or curved, woody. It's defined as woody, or a piece of wood, or woody. It has a woody appearance. And it projects on the stem or other parts of a plant. He says some seed fell among that. When you have a heart of thorn, a stiff, or you dealing with someone with a heart of thorn, a stiff, sharp, pointed, straight, or curved woodiness or woody appearance that pricks, that pierces, that hurts. It don't cut, it punctures, it pierces. It takes a certain soul winner to deal with this, because this lashes out and pierces. This is stiff. This sit down when we stand up. This stand up when we sit down. This eat while we're fasting. This says things to try to see, can it hurt me enough for me to stop coming back tomorrow? Or this is something that pricks. It's a thorn. It represents hardship and toil, where one have worked too hard in life to get where they are. It's a thorn. It symbolizes suffering. It symbolizes judgment and obstacles to spiritual growth. It's a thorn which can be caused by the worries of life, the deceitfulness of wealth, or other worldly concerns like poverty, like loneliness alone, what's not fair, what haven't been fair. It's a thorn. It pricks. The world say that person, ooh, be careful with that person, they'll cut you. He'll cut you. She'll cut you. Or really what they're doing is piercing you. And so you have a conversation with them. When you walk away, you feel like pierced. You feel like some poked you. They don't know what to say and what not to say. They don't know how to receive seed. They don't even know it. Like, you have to point things out to certain people. Like they don't even know. Like you asked me to talk. We're talking now. We're talking, and you're combating everything. You're poking at everything I'm saying. You're poking at at that schedule we're talking about. You're poking at the strategy we need. You're poking. You're piercing and poking. You don't know that you're saying I want to spend more time, husband. But then when we spend time, you poke and peer and prick. You don't know, hey wife, we need to spend more time. But when we do, you poke and prick. You pierce. It's like one of these easily offended people. They prick. These people who, no matter what you say, they're thinking of something that prick or poke you. Can you help me? Can you help me? Okay, yeah, here's the help. Okay, well, I don't like that kind of help. Well, listen, look, why you poking at it and pricking it? You asked me for help. Can you reach out and check on me? Can you reach out and make sure I'm okay? Okay, I'm reaching out. I tell you what, you reach out and let me know how you do it. Well, no, you reach out to me. You're prick and poke. Well, listen, you're fasting today. Well, not me. It's always a prick and a poke with this heart. They don't. They a thorn is just a thorn. So that's what it is. A thorn, it does what a thorn do. It's gonna do what it does. And when seed fall among thorns, and the thorns sprung up, it choked them. It choked them. It choked them. Like the life out of them. The seed cannot, it choked. Some fell among thorns. This qualified farmer, this qualified sower who know what he's doing, he's just sowing. It's like, why are you sowing on the wayside? And why are you sowing on shallow, rocky places? And why are you sowing on around on thorns? He's just letting the word go wherever he's just throwing the word out there. He's just sowing that. He's just sowing. It fall where it fall. I'm just throwing it out there, and it's falling where it fall. I can't dictate what the substance is. All I can do is sow. I can just do what I'm here to do and sow. I'm sowing. Is what he would say. Like, I can't dictate that part has some, because what I want you to see is not separate entities, but one big yard, with different sections having different things going on. It's one big yard. It's one church. So he's just going through the whole field, but he cannot. He's just sowing. He don't stop and say, "Oh, not in that area, too much." He's just sowing. He's just throwing seed all over. He's just walking and sowing. He's just walking because some of this is mixed in with what God says, but others fell on good ground. So in the midst of this, there's good ground. It's not all of it is the same area. The good ground, on the outside of the good ground is the wayside. Within the good ground, there's some stony places. Within the good ground, there's some thorns. So he's just sowing. But other fell into good ground. Like in the midst of all of this, there's some good ground. So he cannot keep stopping to see. See, good soil is a healthy, crumbling, and nutrient-rich medium that provides plants with necessary water, air, and nutrients for growth. It's all about growth. It's all about growth. It's all about a balanced pH. It's all about good structure that allows for both drainage and water retention. Drainage, too much water, not good. It needs some kind of drainage, but it also needs to retain the water that it needs while draining the water that it don't. It's good soil. It's good ground. And good ground, it has something in it that we don't want to deal with. Sort of say earthworms, and fungi. It's all part of good ground. But others fell into good ground and brought forth fruit, not quickly, not overnight. It's not shallow. Like some of the people you think that's doing well, they're gonna get scorched if we don't help them. If they doing so well so fast, because there's no deepness of earth. Then you'll see someone else, and it's like they're not doing well. They look the same way they looked 2 years ago. They look the same way they looked a year ago. But it don't mean they're not good ground that's going to bring forth some 100, some 60, some 30. I say to people, you're doing well, you're growing. And they have said to me, I don't see it. And I say, good. Good, you don't see it. It's not for you to see yet. Good. Then people walk up to people who moving super fast, and they say, "Man, look how fast you're growing. Look how good you look." But then my heart says, "Oh my God, shallow, no deepness of earth. This going to require some work, right, Lord?" And God wanted His church to have an understanding of this, not just have wisdom about what to do about what they know, but to understand it because He deal with the people He was sending out. So they had to have a certain level of understanding. Spiritual leaders. And the disciples came and said unto him in 13:10 before we pray, and said, "Why speakest thou unto them in parables?" Now they're not asking it like, "Jesus, why are you talking to them like this?" They're not talking with that kind of heart. I ministered to a sister in church once, and at the end of the service, a family member, a young family member, said to me, "That wasn't right. You put that girl business out. You put that girl business out for everyone to know. That wasn't right." But she didn't understand. She didn't get it. That God deal with things in secret, and then if it's not done in a certain way, He deal with it openly. She didn't get that. She couldn't get it. So she said to me, "Why you put that girl business out like that? That wasn't right." This is not how they're dealing with Him. They're talking as students to a teacher. "Why speakest thou unto them in parables?" He answered and said unto them, "Because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it is not given." I didn't decide it, my father did. I didn't decide it, my father did, not me. I do always the things that please the Father. He wants some things given to you, but to them, he wants you to know the mysteries of the kingdom, but to them it is not given, or not given yet. For whosoever hath, to him shall be given. Look at this in every area of your life. For whosoever hath, to him shall be given. I once said, what's the purpose of a bank if they're not going to help people who broke or who need it? Like it's some things I'm trying to do and can't get a loan to do it. If I had the resources, I wouldn't need you, bank. Why are you asking me to show you certain numbers? And that's why I'm here. Or that's why I'm asking you for assistance. Banks don't help broke people. Banks don't help people with nothing. You would think that they're there to help people with nothing or who don't have. Banks help people who have. For whosoever hath, to him shall be given, and he shall have more abundance. But he better first have. But whosoever have not, from him shall be taken away even that which he hath. Look at how that sounds. But whosoever have not, but whosoever have not, from him shall be taken away even that he have. So when it's like they have something. It's just not a lot. Not a lot. But whoever have shall have abundance. But whoever don't have. So you gotta have. He said, therefore speak I to them in parable, because they see not. They think they see so much, and they don't see anything. And hearing they hear not, neither do they understand. There's a people he illuminated things to them in that inner circle. There's people he talked to a certain way that he didn't break it down like that or make it known to the masses. But we have to know as spiritual leaders what God is saying and what he's doing in order to help that which have not. He says in verse 18, hear ye therefore the parable of the sower. When anyone hears the word of the kingdom and understand it not, then cometh the wicked one and catcheth away that which was sown in his heart. Now he can show up in anyone. I've heard people leave church services, go home, go somewhere else, talk to people about what they heard in church, and the wicked one showed up in the people. Like, that ain't God, or your church not right, or show me that in the Bible, or like the wicked one shows up when you don't have a certain level of understanding, when you're not in when you're not in that good ground, when you don't have that temporary shading, when you're away from us. The wicked one shows up, the bully, and catcheth away that which was sown in his heart. This is he which receives seed by the wayside. But he that received the seed into stony places, the same is he that heareth the word, and anon with joy received it. Yes, thank you. This is what I needed. I needed that word today. Yes. Yet have he no root in himself. Now, don't judge it by how many years you've been seeing a person or how long you've been looking at a person. Get in the pureness. To the pure, all things are pure. Get in that. And you'll see, no matter how long you think they've been in church, you'll see if this if it's shallow with no root. So he or she do well for a while. But when tribulation and persecution arise because of the word, by and by he is offended. Now this is very important before we pray, because of what you're hearing right now. Right now, what you're hearing is going to bring a certain level of tribulation and persecution because of what you're hearing right now. Because of what you're hearing right now. Right now, what you are hearing is going to bring a certain level of persecution and bring a certain level of tribulation with it because of what you're hearing right now. Right now. Like it's going to bring a certain level of persecution and tribulation. It's going to arise because of the word. Like it wouldn't arise if you didn't hear this today. Like all you had to do is like just to hear this. This is why Jesus looked at them and said to them that you haven't left a house or a brother or a sister or a mother or a father or children or lands for me or for my sake and for the gospel, the good news, who will not receive 100-fold now in this time, houses, brothers, sisters, mothers, children, and lands. He says, but with persecution. But in the end, but the age to come, eternal life, but with persecution. There's a certain level of persecution coming because of what you're hearing right now. I go because my first lady looks at me and first lady, and she said, out of thousands of people and hundreds of couples, she says, I want to do something for you too. I'm not a common dude. I never spent one day outside of church with my first lady, with my pastor. I never sat and shot the breeze with them. I never went to their house. They never came to my house. We did none of that. She only saw me in church. She only ministered to me in church. The first time my first lady spoke to me, I'm in a hard place. I'm going through a hard time. I walk down and put my offering in the basket. As I turn away with thousands of people in the place, she grabs me by the left hand. She says, baby, when you put your money in the bucket, the Lord said to tell you that he's working things out for you on your job. She had never spoken to me before. I went and sat down and a tear left my left eye because I had my 2-week notice in my briefcase to give to them the next day, Monday morning. I was done with that job. That same first lady looks at me and first lady and says, I want you all to do something. I want you to meet me Saturday downtown at whatever hotel it was, Marriott or something, I don't know. And I want you all to spend some time there with me, spend some time there overnight. We go there, we stay, and they hosting a service there that Saturday morning. She takes us there. I hear one of the most awesome prophecies or words to a ministry a couple that was also a ministry of what God was getting ready to do in their lives and with their ministry. By Prophetess Bernadette McGee, I think that was her name, and ministered to beautifully about what God was getting ready to do. Everyone was worshiping, weeping, crying. The whole service was up there, as they say, high up there. A year later, that couple was separated. Both saved double-digit years. Both said God had called them into ministry. Both said God told them to start a ministry. Both getting prophesied to in the same service about what God was going to do in the ministry, in their ministry. A year later, they were separated. 2 years later, they were divorced. God, did you lie? Though prophecies can fail, though prophecies may fail, whether it's this way of getting the word, whether it's in a building getting the word, whether it's by reading the Bible, whether it's by being taught or preached or proclaimed to, prophesied to, it's all the word, because of whatever word you're getting. See, when we saw when we saw, I say we, because this is who we are. I don't believe in like separate entities, so I like to think of A.P.P.C as we. When we saw 2 pregnancies this year, and then we saw one in our face that was prophesied a year prior, and then the unknown, the hidden one. I say this for prophetic reasoning. And then I stood there and in the midst of you all and said, that second pregnancy, we may not see it. Now, I'm only saying this out loud at that time as I work this thing out, out loud. As Christ worked it out loud, it's not meet to take the children's bread and cast the dogs, right? Like, as he worked it out loud. I said, we may not see it, but I'm really talking out loud. But it's going to happen, but we may not see it because of abortion or miscarriage or something. But God he wanted credibility. The only reason things happen a certain way, he wanted prophetic credibility. Like people think you miss or you don't know what you're doing or whatever. He wanted certain that I can care less about. When that second pregnancy came, we were never supposed to know about it. But you don't know that. And you'll never know who it was with. Never. But you don't know. It was never supposed to be made known to us. But the Lord wanted it known to us. Because it's like he sometimes, I don't want to say that. I hold that. But the Lord wanted it known to us. We just stay in our business. But when it came like, you're not supposed to know about this, but I talk to my pastor, I talk to my church, I talk to people. When I need help, I talk, I ask. That's how it came. For prophetic, like validation. And the way he wanted it to. This what you're hearing now bring in itself tribulation and persecution to your life. Whatever prophecy you received, it don't mean it ever happened. If you don't handle the tribulation and persecution right. David had to handle things right for 15 years after he was anointed. 15 years before he became king. 15. When you anointed and prophesied to at 15 years old and you don't walk into it until you 30, dealing in the midst of that with a Goliath, with a king trying to kill you, with brothers saying, we know the pride of your heart. Like everything he had to deal with, running for his life, being away from his people, living with strange people. But you are who you are, and so God magnified him wherever he was. He had to go through this period of hardship and had to fight anger and hate. But what it did was revealed and exposed the character and the leadership skills that he would need to be king. This is why he had no excuse for Bathsheba. He was qualified. He was proved and qualified. But when you look at from the day he was prophesied to the day he became king, look at the tribulation and persecution. Look at what the Apostle Paul had to go through after he was blinded and God gave him back his sight. Just look. That's why you don't want to. That's why you want to stay where God left you last. But you have to learn first where He put you, and then stay there. And don't give yourself anything or let another speak well of you. Just stay low. If you notice when God dealt with Peter, or you want to call him Peter or the Apostle Peter, whatever people do, and He gave him that dream about Cornelius. He gave him a vision and a word and a dream and an understanding about how to go to Cornelius' house. If you notice, we don't go past that saying Prophet Peter and Prophet Peter. Some people think because they have a vision or a dream or God deal with them a certain way and it come to pass and all that, oh, you're a prophet, you're a prophetess. That don't make you a prophet or a prophetess. A man said this to me. He said him and his wife get ready to turn pastor. And I said, okay, beautiful. Yeah, beautiful, brother. Good. Saved wife, got you. He said, I was just calling you for prayer, let you know what's going on. I said, beautiful, beautiful. He said, yeah, we getting ready to turn pastor. I said, well, yeah, wonderful. Whatever, got you, bro. And then he said, yeah, plus, I got my doctorate and my wife, she got her doctorate. And I said, stop, pause, breaks. Who cares? Who cares that you have your doctorate? Who cares your wife have it? Well, how does that qualify you to be pastor? How does that qualify her to be co-pastor or whatever you all get ready to do, first lady? What? So what? You think the devil care about a piece of paper? Or that you went to school? I went to school. You think the devil care about theology and doctrine and titles? When the persecution and tribulation come, you think it come and get scared of a piece of paper? Or shy away from someone because they know some Hebrew and Greek? You think that that's what get ready to make you a good pastor? You're gonna fall on your face. If you think that's what's going to help you, or if you think that's what's going to make you, it can assist you. Study to show thyself approved, a workman need not be ashamed. It's your due diligence, but you think that is going to put fear and tribulation and persecution? Oh, no, no, no. You have tribulation and persecution that the devil want to bring, and you have tribulation and persecution that God himself brings. You have godly temptations, and Jesus being led by the Holy Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted. But we know it wasn't an evil temptation, for God would not tempt anyone with evil. Then you have the tempter, then you have the devil, then you have Satan or Satan, who comes to tempt, to be like or as. You think that you think any of that care about a doctrine or a title or even a term marriage or anything? Anything? He looks at a people. He said, because of the word, because of the very word you're hearing and receiving, some tribulation and persecution coming. He said, and at that time, you cannot be offended. See, some things are proved in the offense. Not in the brokenness, not in the humility, in the offense. In the offense. And if you're in a real church, you should be offended. Some offense should come. Truth makes and set free. If it don't kill you first, you have to follow on to know. And he looks and says, offense is coming. But for some people, they get offended to the point of turned off or more thorns, more rocks, while others are offended to the point of brokenness. Offense comes. But I've heard people weep and cry and speak in some tongue. I don't know what it is, and all kinds of things. And when that tribulation and that persecution came because of what they had heard, because of, you know how people, they whores for prophecies? Why? Everything is coming with some tribulation and persecution. So you mean to tell me the very word that you once received with joy is the very word that caused you to be offended? See, when I sat with this, I was stuck here for a long time. I don't mean like in years ago. I mean for this service. I was stuck here before we pray of what is getting ready to take place in the lives of the P.P.C. or certain members for sure. That's called tribulation and persecution, because it's proving time. It's testing time. Now, my pastor told me or taught me, let testing times be trusting times. Now, you who God has delivered out of anxiety and delivered out of fears, unknown fears, you get where everything is not a trigger to you, but it's got to be in your born again experience. Because what makes you, whether it was a contemplation of abortion, whether it was a hard pregnancy, whether what you went through early in life, whatever makes you, all that thing always try to rise up with certain word. It touches you on the temples at the same time, right and left, or something. You know how those people like, there's no left brain thinking, there's no right brain thinking. Well, even science know that what's considered left brain thinking and right brain thinking for smart people is that there more activity go on in that part of the brain during certain times. Yeah, the whole brain is engaged, but one part is more lit up, one part is more activated. So we label that side of that person, that's a right brain thinker, that's a left brain thinker. But when people say there's no such thing, I just leave them to that because they smart, you know. But when you get that pressure over the left eye or on the left temple, like, do you know how many reactions and actions have taken place since we started this service? You know, and then you got the, oh my God, okay, oh my God, okay, oh my God, yeah. Well, don't worry about that. I'm just gonna trust Jesus. I hope you do trust Jesus, because tribulation and persecution, we don't get aggrandized without it. It's a prerequisite. We don't get we don't get double honor without it. It's a prerequisite. It's a prerequisite. That's why we don't do all of the, and let's rest on our feet now and receive now our own doctor, prophet, Cyrus, Peter, Hunt. Who cares? Like, the more word you get, the more prophecies you receive, the more we can deal with tribulation and persecution to prove that we should be where we are and we have earned a right to go where we're going. You got to earn it. You got to earn. You got to earn it. Even if you step into some called marriage, without earning it, at some point in the marriage, you got to earn it. You got to earn it. Or tribulation and persecution going to divorce it. You got to earn it. You got to earn it. You got to earn it. You have to earn it. People would say everything was good until I gave my life to the Lord. I know. Everything was good until we got married. I know. I didn't know it would be this hard. I know. Because it's some things that you didn't get from the right premarital counseling that got you ready to expect what was coming. And then it's things you didn't, that were not proved prior to you stepping in certain places that now is being proved. Where God did everything for David up front, he proved him to be king, not got him to be king and then proved him. I like it better that way. You said in verse 22 before we pray, and he also that receiveth seed among thorns is he that heareth the word, and the care of this world, and the deceitfulness of riches, and you can also say that the lack of, choke the word, and he becometh unfruitful, which means it choked the word, and the word cannot breathe because it's too much going on. Now let me tell some of you all something. Do whatever you do until it becomes too much. When I worked at Jenny Craig and people lost the weight they wanted to lose, they went on something called a maintenance program, where we started adding food to their diet, and they started adding food to their diet. And the first week, the very first week they gained a pound, we went over every single thing that they ate. They logged it. We could read it. And we found out what's too much. See, you went too, now that's too much. You went too far. That's too much. Like you maintain, but right here, this week, you gained a pound. Let's look at it. Okay, yeah, that's too much. Okay, that's too much. So you maintain yourself pretty well, with 1,200 calories and a certain amount of fats and carbs and protein. But you went to 1,300 calories, and that was too much for you. Do what you do until you find out it's too much. Deal with people a certain way until you find out it's too much. Like I just say, hey, no, it's too much. That I know before I do it. That's because why? I did it. That's too much. That's too much. That's too much. That'd be too much for me. For what? You backslide? No. It's too much for my hearing. It's too much for my consecration. Too much. Like this is what I do. That'd be too much for me. Like that. That's too much. Now you could be a person who got 10,000 followers, and you do something on social media. You got 10,000 followers. Bill, Jane, John, Susan, Gwen, Cavassier, whatever. You got all these followers and all this stuff you do. You're one of these people. Well, when you say John, what I may hear is lust. When you say, "Hey, Gwen," what I may feel is anxiety. When you say, "Good to see you, Paul," what I may be feeling is suicidal tendencies. You understand? That's why I leave some things out of my bedroom where I gotta sleep, because where you may see it as just your good girlfriend, what I see it as masturbation or porn. So, hey, Slewfoot, good to see you. But what I may see is, depression. It may touch you like nothing, but it may touch me different. Everyone is different. When something is too much, you have to know it. When it's too much spending, too much going out, too many people coming to your house, too much putting too many women in front of your husband, too many men in front of your wife. When you got too much going on, you have to know that. When it's too much food, and when it's too much pop, when too much, you got to know that. When stuff becomes a care, you have to know that. Because now it's ready to make some word unfruitful. Unfruitful. Like too much. Sometimes it's too much complaining and not enough thankfulness and gratefulness and gratitude. Sometimes you'll see a married couple and one say to the other one, "You complain too much." Too much? What you mean? What you mean? Just too much. But they don't know it's to say too much for me. Like God is good. You complain too much. You asked for 10 things from the jewels. I brought you 9. Look at the 9. I'm sorry I missed the one, but you complain too much. It's too much. You talk too much. You complain too, not to everyone, just to that person you married to. You can have another husband and you ain't too much spending. There's not too much talking. You have another wife. It ain't too much. But the one you have, it's too much. Too much. Too much. Too much. Too much. That's why I tell single people, you want someone that's 90% of what you're looking for. And God grace you for the 10% they not. But all that 50-50 and of what you're looking for, or 40% what you're looking for, 60 not, 30% what you're looking for, 70 not. That's a prison. That's a lifetime of hard times. He said, but he that receiveth seed into good ground. Now look at this. Look at this fourth. No, like just look at this. And then we're praying. Look at wayside. Look at stony places. Just look at it. Wayside, stony places, thorns. And look at good ground. Look at how 1/4 out of this big field, this big yard, 1/4. Look at the remnant. Look at how hard in ministry you got to work. Look at how hard in life you got to work. Where only 1/4 is easy to deal with. Only 1/4 is good ground. Only 1/4. Just look at it. Before you plant, as you look at life, just look at it. There are only 1/4 of this big yard I'm not going to have to toil. I'm not going to have to work hard with. Just 1/4 that I can expect what I see. That what I see is really what I see. 1/4. But he that received the seed into the 1/4 ground is he that heareth the word, understandeth it, which also beareth fruit and bringeth forth some 100, some 60, some 30, which means everyone's now potential, everyone's ability shows up. People have different abilities. Now he combines spirit with your ability and your ethic. What kind of ability and work ethic do you have to have to bring forth 100-fold? You think God is just discriminatory and he says, no, only you 100, only you 60, only you 30. No, now that's based on your work ethic. That's based on your ability and your willingness. It's not discriminatory. It's this person spend an hour a day in prayer, multiple hours on the weekend, go to church 2 or 3 times a week. Like, I mean, when they need help, talk to elders and church leaders, and they stay away from stuff that ain't right, and they flee fornication. They bring forth 100-fold. This person right here, they flee fornication. They stay away from sin. You see them, at church, enough to know they, like they come. They don't do a lot of Bible reading. They don't do a lot of, they do some prayer, not a lot, but they do more than a 30. Like that's what the difference in 160 and 30. He's not a discriminatory God. Now it's on you. And then he looks at the people like us, like ourselves, and says, "You good? You could be good soil, or you could be a sower who sow good seed. But remember, at some point you sleep in this life, and when you do, an enemy will try to come by and place tares, weeds among your wheat." As he described that in verse 24, and all the good seed that was sown, soon as you doze off, I take my brother-in-law like 13 hours away to school, me and First Lady. And I think it was like 13 going and 11 coming back, and some 12 coming back, something like that. And all it take is to doze off one time. It could be a 13-hour drive. You can drive well 12 hours and 58 minutes and fall asleep the 59th minute and total your car, kill your wife. They don't talk about the 12 hours and 58 minutes. They only talk about the last 2 or the last 1 minute. That's what counts. He says that this you can be good soil with good seed, but know that an enemy is coming to place weeds and to sow tares there among the wheat, so that as good things springing up, also some bad things. I told Minister Amari, I said, I'd rather choose, Minister Mary, I said, I'd rather choose to see Christians as Christians and what they do well versus what they don't. I said, as people come into your family, daughter, and as people come into your church, you have to see them like you see yourself, as not perfect. And see the good. Let the good overwhelm the bad, and let what they do well overwhelm what they don't do so well. Like we got to place our focus there, or else you'll constantly see what they are not, and that's not fair to anyone. There's wheat and there are weeds in every church. In every field, you can have both. The major thing today is to have a heart that's good soil, but that understand how to get ready for the tribulation and the persecution because of the very word that have brought you salvation. And let's see if we're really the church. Let's see if we're really the called. Let's see if we're really the chosen. It shows. It shows. You see? Let's see if we really love the Lord enough to add some temporary shading and to be patient with people who don't get it like we got it. Who gonna fall in and fall out, and fall in and fall out. Let's see, do we have what it takes to know when to prune and when not to.